Hi ladies, I am so excited to hop on tonight and make this video for you guys, showing you how I make biryani. Now I already know that there are so many different recipes out there, so many different ways to make this, recipes that have been handed down generation to generation. And I've learned picking up from my mother-in-law and watching a neighbor do it, and kind of basically taught myself in the end how to make the biryani, how I like it and how my family likes it. So hopefully you'll enjoy my recipe. You can try it. It's pretty easy. It's just time consuming. So I'm gonna do it step by step, and I'll probably pause the video and then later I'll edit it all together so it kind of flows for you guys. The one shortcut that I do take, you guys, time saver, huge time saver. We're all moms, we all have kids, we have husbands, we have responsibilities, we need time savers. So I always buy a rotisserie chicken. Like, I am not gonna stand there and boil chicken and tear it apart. I buy a rotisserie chicken, it gives me the same thing in the end. Shred it up, put it in there, you're good to go. All right, so let's start with how I make the rizza. I have this pot. This is one of my favorite pots. It looks old because I've had it for 100 years. I think I got this pot when I was like 22 and I'm almost 49. So it's an old pot, but I love it because see how it has the holes in the lid? It's perfect for rizza. So what I did is I just took, I have 4 cups of rizza in here, and I don't make a huge pot of biryani because there's only 4 of us. Once in a while my in-laws will come, or I'll make a plate for the neighbor or something like that, but I always have plenty when I use this amount that I'm gonna show you. It serves a lot of people. So I have 4 cups of rizza in here. I've washed it, and you wanna make sure that when you're rinsing it, you can use warm water when you are rinsing the rizza. It gets all that starch off of it and cleans the rice, drain it. And so now it's just nice and dry. You can see it's kind of like just been rinsed, okay? So I have, I don't know, about a 1/4 cup. And the other thing you're gonna learn about me is I'm not real great at measuring. I just kind of do by sight, so I apologize in advance. I'll try to estimate. So there's a little bit of oil in the bottom of that pan, about a 1/4 cup. And I always turn on the wrong burner. I've had the stove forever, okay. So I'm gonna put it on like a medium-high heat, and I'm gonna let it get hot for a second. The other thing that I'm gonna use is this biryani spice right here. You can get it at any Arabic market. I am gonna use, now this is one that some people might not use in their biryani because I've seen where it's just kind of brown. I like to put the orange coloring in my biryani because I just think it looks prettier, okay? So you're gonna need that, at least for my recipe, or you don't have to use it. You can just omit it. Black pepper, definitely. Salt, okay? Now, I can feel the oils heating up. You wanna wait until it kind of gets hot enough that when you put the rizza in, it goes, you can hear it. Okay, so let's just give it a second. On the other side over here, I have a little fryer. Now, when I use my fryer, I usually put it in the garage because I don't like my house to smell like oil. I'm a very OCD person and I don't like that. But for today, I'll do it inside for you guys. All right, so I'm gonna put the rizza in. Yep, hear it? That's what you want. And the thing, Americans, they make their rice like super sticky, and I never learned how to make this rice until I married my husband. My mother-in-law taught me this, and she's an amazing woman. Okay. So now the rizza's in the pot, and I'm just stirring it around. I'm gonna coat it. Make sure all that oil gets coated onto that rice. And what that's gonna do is kind of keep it loose, and it's not gonna be so sticky. You want kind of fluffier rice, okay? Because you don't want biryani that's kind of clumped together. So we're just getting that oil all kind of stirred into that rice. My daughter, my youngest, is a rizza freak. She'll eat it like just by itself, plain. All right, so now that it's all coated in the oil, I'm gonna take the biryani spice. Now, sometimes if you use too much of the spice, the biryani itself gets kind of spicy. So you have to really, take it easy in the beginning. So what I'm gonna do is I have a tablespoon like that. It has a little oil on it from me stirring that oil around earlier. And now I'm gonna take a big heaping spoonful of biryani, okay? Biryani spice. Stick it in there with that rizza, and I'm gonna stir that around. And it already smells amazing, just for the record. As soon as that spice hits that pan, you know what you're making. Like somebody walked into my house right now, they'd be like, you're making biryani. All right, now I'm gonna take some pepper, and I just go over like 3 shakes, right? So 1, 2, 3. That's it. I know that's crazy that I don't measure, but I promise you it works. And now the same thing with the salt. 1, 2. I just do 2 shakes across. You can always add salt, but you can't take it away, so just be careful. All right, now I am going to, I'm turning this down a little bit because I don't want it to stick to my pot. All right, and now I'm gonna take my little food coloring. You know those little tiny chai spoons? You can take a little tiny chai spoon, like this, these the little ones, and go in there and take your little coloring. Do 1 spoonful of that coloring, okay? We're just gonna stir it around in there. And it gives it a pretty color. I like the color that it gives. Oh man, it smells so good, you guys. Okay, and I'm just gonna pause so that I can get my water. All right, so now I just went and put 6 cups. There's 4 cups of rice. I'm only doing 6 cups of water because you, like I said, you don't want it to get mushy. Go ahead and dump it right in there. Cold water. You want to make sure it's cold. And now I'm just going to stir that around. The rizza part's easy, right? Super easy. And now I'm just giving it a good stir so everything's all nice and mixed in there. Like that. And I'm going to show you, kind of. The way I have my camera, I'm trying to keep it where you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so it kind of looks like that. Okay, and now you can see I have the heat kind of on just like a medium. Okay, cover it. Let me turn it to medium. Leave it. It's gonna take a good like maybe 10 to 12 minutes for it to really start. As soon as you can move it around with a fork and all the water is gone, turn it off, keep the lid on it. Don't touch it, don't take the lid off, leave the lid on and just let it set, and that rice will get really nice. It will be fluffy and it'll be cooked through, it'll be perfect, okay? So that's how I'm gonna do the rizza, and I'm gonna show you when it's done, how it looks. So now I'm gonna move over to the other side. I'm gonna pause, I'm gonna move over and get ready to show you how I make the meatballs. All right, now we're back. The rice is still cooking, and now I'm gonna move on to the meatballs. Okay, you could take another shortcut here. You could definitely buy a bag of meatballs. Make sure they're not Italian flavored meatballs. Make sure that they're the plain meatballs. But I'm kind of picky about the flavor because sometimes the pre-made ones have a funky taste to them. I don't know if it's because they use pork in a lot of them. I just prefer to know what I'm doing. So I have some ground chuck right here. I have 1.5 pounds of ground chuck. You can probably get away with 1 pound of ground chuck and be fine and have plenty of meatballs. It seems to me that whenever I make meatballs, that's the thing my family absolutely loves the most. So for the meatballs, 1.5 pounds of ground chuck. I have some parsley. I just have a little handful like this. It's already been washed. And I go through and I kind of just pick, I don't want a lot of stem in there. And you could definitely save yourself more time and use like a food processor to grind all this up. But you know, I like the process. I like chopping it up and stuff. So I'm gonna use the parsley. Just take those leaves off of there. Try to get rid of the big stem part. Let's see. You guys have been so amazing. Thank you, by the way, on all of my food that I've been posting. The love that you have shown me was really overwhelming, and it means a lot to me. Like I really feel blessed to have been part of a group of such amazing and beautiful women. So thank you for that. All right, so I have the parsley. I don't know if you guys can quite see. Let me move some of this other stuff so I can slide the board down. Okay, all right. So you can see I'm gonna just take the parsley and give it a good chop. I just kind of roll it between my fingers. I grab it up and just keep rolling it so that I can chop it easy. All right, just like that. That rice is still cooking. I'm keeping an eye on it. I don't want it to burn or get stuck to the bottom. Then it just has a bad taste when you burn it. Ask me how I know that. when I first started cooking, my mom died when I was 24. I had just turned 24. I was in college, and I never had to cook, you know, and not only that, she would never let me in the kitchen. I could watch her cook, but she really never let me participate. So I just kind of learned American food from watching her, and I am a definite foodie. I absolutely love good food. And Middle Eastern food, I am obsessed with Middle Eastern food, like everything about it. I love the flavors. I make really good falafel too, you guys, homemade falafel, because I like, a lot of times I like to make vegetarian meals. Okay, now I'm gonna show you. This is kind of how fine I've got that parsley. I'm gonna put it right in there with that ground beef, okay? Just right on in there. I should measure because I don't want to confuse you guys. Then I'm gonna add 1 egg. What the egg is gonna do is it's making it moist so that you can get like it stuck together, and it helps hold the meatball together when you fry it. Just gonna put it right in there. Okay, and I wear gloves because two reasons. One, I hate touching meat, and two, I have nails, and although I keep my nails very clean, I feel like, you know, you can get germs underneath your nails, and it's kind of gross to me. All right, so now I have some minced garlic. You can definitely do fresh garlic if you want, but time saver, minced garlic. I have a teaspoon. I just put it in there. I did more of like a tablespoon because I love garlic. I think garlic makes everything taste way better. And now I'm gonna use some minced onion, okay? Minced onion. All it is dried onion that's been chopped, see? And you can just put it right in there. You don't have to use fresh onion, okay? You can use minced onion, or if you feel like standing and chopping the onion till it's small, you go right ahead. This mama ain't doing it. All right, so I'm just gonna sprinkle. Let's see. Not bad. Okay, give it a few good shakes. All right, I'm gonna do one more. There you go. I did 2 more. I grabbed the wrong thing. I wanted garlic powder. Hang on. I thought I grew it. Here's garlic. I'm gonna sprinkle it with a little shake of garlic powder. Just a quick 1, 2. That's it. That's it. And some pepper. A couple shakes of pepper. God, you guys are gonna kill me because I don't measure. You're gonna be like, what the hell is she doing? A couple shakes of salt. I think you'll get it. I think just by doing it like this, you'll get it. And you can estimate, that's about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and about a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. I probably put a teaspoon of the chopped onion, and probably about 3 tablespoons of chopped parsley, 1 egg, and 1.5 pounds of ground chuck. Now, love allspice. This is some allspice. I love it. It's so fragrant, and that's what makes it taste different from a regular meatball. If you just do this right now and I stop, you're gonna have an American meatball. Now, if I take a teaspoon of that allspice and dump it in there, and I'm gonna do about 1.5 teaspoon of allspice, okay? Just like that. Now, the other thing that's gonna help bind or keep your meatball together when you fry it is breadcrumbs. This part, I really cannot tell you a measurement, because once I mix the meatballs, if it feels too wet, and I feel like they're not gonna stay together, I'll add a little bit more. But to start, I'm gonna do about a 1/4 cup, okay? That's about a 1/4 cup of breadcrumbs. And then I'm just gonna mix it all together. See why I wear gloves? I'm gonna mix it all together because the thought of touching this without gloves on, I can't do it. Can't do it. I can't wait. I wanna share some of the vegetarian recipes. I don't know if any of you are fans of vegetarian. But I really like to have vegetarian once in a while. I love benjan. I love eggplant. And I also, I said I love falafel, but I make a mean black bean burger too. Okay. So I feel like these are this is pretty good. I don't think that I'm gonna have to add any more of the breadcrumbs to it. I think it's, you know, pretty good. It's holding together. Like if I make a meatball right now, it's holding together pretty well, okay? And I think it will do really well in the fryer. So that's it. You don't want to overmix the meat. You just want to mix it until everything's combined together. I'm going to take off my gloves. I'm going to pause the video just for a moment. I want to check on my rice, and then I'm going to come back and show you the meatballs, okay? All right, girls, I'm back. Okay, I just wanted to check that rice, and it's doing fine. So I'm just going to I'm going to grab just like a teaspoon, maybe a tablespoon, a tablespoon of that meat mixture. And I want it to be about like that size right there, like a very small, smaller than a ping pong ball. Okay, just like that. And I'm gonna go and I'm gonna roll all of these out. And I have my fryer heating up because you wanna make sure your fryer, your oil in that fryer is hot, okay? The second you put that meatball in, you want it to start bubbling and cooking. If you just test it first, put like one potato in there and see if it bubbles. If it doesn't bubble, it's not hot enough. You want it hot, okay? You can see I have the potatoes and onion on the side. I'm gonna cut those up. I'm gonna go finish making the meatballs. I have about 1,000 of these to make right now. Same size. You want them to all be the same size or close to it, because that way they all cook evenly and they all cook at the same time, okay? So I'm gonna go finish these up and I'll come back when I put them in the fryer and I'll show you our progress, okay? All right, it took me forever, but I finally got all of the meatballs done. I don't know, I probably got like, I don't know, maybe 35 meatballs or something. Now, I have a fryer like this one. I love this thing. If you don't have a fryer, you can just fry them on the stove, okay, in a pot like this. And make sure you fill it halfway full of oil. Get the oil really hot, and then you can brown them in there until they're browned through. I always take one out, like cut it through, and make sure it's cooked. I just tested this, and it's nice and hot. So this basket lifts out. I'm gonna put about 10 of them in there. And they take about 2 minutes to cook. There's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I'll do them in batches of 10. You can hear it. It's sizzling, it's frying away. Put the lid on it. My whole house is gonna smell like biryani and meatballs, but it's okay. So I'm gonna leave that just for 2 minutes. I'm gonna hang out with you here just to show you kind of what it looks like. And always test one of them, like kind of break it open to make sure it's cooked through, because you don't want somebody to be eating that biryani and then they get a meatball and it's crispy on the outside, but it's like raw on the inside. Now, the way that I'm doing these meatballs, they will be a little bit harder on the outside. It won't be like a meatball you buy that's pre-made, that's really smooth. They're a little more rustic looking, if you want to call it that, but they're really moist on the inside. So I'm just gonna lift them. It probably hasn't even been a minute, but you can see they're nice and brown. I don't wanna overcook them either, so I'm just gonna put them back in for another couple seconds here. Because the more this is on, the hotter that oil is getting, so the less time you probably need to do as you're doing them all. And that's why I was saying that it's really important to have the meatballs a consistent size. Like they all need to be, not the exact, obviously, unless you're using a scooper or something, but they need to be pretty similar in size so that they cook at the same time. My rice is also done. I had turned it off and just left the lid on it and left it set. As soon as I saw that there was no water visible, I turned off the heat, stirred it around, and left it. I'll show you in a minute. All right, so let's try this. Okay, I'm gonna take one, and I'm just gonna make sure. I just wanna make sure. Let's take one. I'm gonna take this little guy right there. And I just wanna make sure he's cooked, right? And plus then I get to eat it. Okay, and I have okay, look it. Perfect example. You can see he's not cooked through, so I'm just gonna put him right back in there. Obviously it needs a little more time. So I was right to say like about 2 minutes per batch. I just line a paper plate with some paper towel so it absorbs the excess grease. We'll give this another couple seconds and then we'll check and see if it's cooked through. So I'm gonna go finish. I'll finish frying all of these. I'll put them on the plate. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna show you the potatoes. I'm gonna show you what the rice looks like. I already shredded up the chicken, that rotisserie chicken, while I had gloves on. I shredded it all up and set it on the side so that it's ready. And so I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna show you how I finish it all. The only thing I'm not doing today is the hard-boiled eggs. Honestly, it's only because I'm not in the mood to go through hard boiling them. Even though it only takes like 13 minutes to hard boil them, and I have a perfect trick to have them peel perfectly every single time. But I'll share that with you later. So I'll be right back, okay? All right, you guys, I'm back and I've got some helpers with me. These are my daughters. That's Sophia. That's Ava.
Hi.
Ava's the oldest. She's 12 and she's 10. So whenever I cook, they like to try to come in and help me, okay? So the meatballs are all done, all right? They're right here. I think I got about 35 meatballs total. I chopped up pretty good size, medium sized potatoes. I chopped up 5 potatoes and I cut them into little tiny pieces like this. And I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna just throw them in the fryer until they're golden brown. I'm gonna put it in the basket. You can lower the basket, okay? And these are gonna take a little bit because you really want them brown and crispy. Now, go ahead, wait 1 second. Let me make sure it's on. Okay, go ahead. Lower it, pick it up, and drop it down.
Oh.
Frying, okay? Beautiful. Now, we're just gonna leave it. Leave it, because it's gonna take some time for the potatoes. All right, now that my rice is all done, I use a big pot like this. This is a plenty big enough pot for what I made, for the 4 cups of rice that I made. And I'm gonna take my rice. All right, this part is, I should just cook it in that pot to begin with, but like I said, I like this pot for some reason. Now, this is what the rice looks like. Do you see how fluffy? See how fluffy it is? It's not sticky, it's fluffy. And I'm gonna just dump all that rice into this big pot. That's a lot of rice. 4 cups of rice is a lot of rice, guys. You'll have plenty of food. Like, even if you're a family of 6, you'll have plenty of food. I always have people in my house, so, and that's enough for us, so. All right.
We only have
Watch
4
that
people.
steam, guys. That's really hot. I don't want you to play around that.
We only have 4 people.
We only, yeah, but.
And that's 4 cups of rice.
Okay, well, that's a lot of rice.
That is, yeah.
Now the meatballs, I'm just gonna take them and dump them right on top of the rice. And I'm gonna leave this plate with the paper towel for the potatoes whenever they decide to get done. Okay, so we're just gonna cover up our rice and our meatballs for now and leave them until everything else is done. All right, I'm gonna pause so that I can flip the camera toward the stove. Okay, now we're back to this side, to the stove, okay?
Right.
I chopped up a whole white onion. And I made it really thin. I don't like the pieces to be thick. I like them really, really thin, okay? So a whole white onion. My husband, he doesn't really like the raisins, but I love the raisins, so he loses, and I put them in anyway. I have some golden raisins, about a couple golden raisins. You could do more, you could do less, depending on whether or not you like it. I've got a can of sweet peas, green peas, and most of the time I have them frozen in the freezer, but I just had a can today, so that's what I'm gonna use. This is the rotisserie chicken I had that I shredded all up. And even though this is cooked, I like to give it a good toss in the pan and kind of just warm it through and make sure it's cooked real good, even though I know it is. And of course you're gonna need your biryani spice again, okay? So Ava, let's turn on this burner. Nope, you gotta go back, honey. So, yeah, now turn it like medium, medium hot. Like, yeah, like that. And in this pan, I have it coated in the bottom with oil, probably like just under a 1/4 cup, because I want the onions to really get translucent and cooked through so they're not crunchy. You wanna make sure your onion's nice and cooked. So now you can, we all have clean hands, by the way. All right, so Ava, I want you to put the onion into the pot. And I'm just keeping an eye out on my potatoes that are in the fryer, giving them a good shake. And I'm gonna wait till they're nice and cooked through. You can totally do the meatballs. You could probably brown them and then finish in the oven if you wanted. You could do them in the air fryer. I think if we did them in the air fryer, actually, I'll try that next time. They would be a lot softer on the outside and cooked through on the inside. So I am gonna try that next time. Yep, good job. And we're gonna wait. You're gonna give that a stir. Yep, Sophie, we're gonna go back in with this tablespoon right here. And you're gonna put just a tablespoon, okay, of the biryani spice. You're gonna sprinkle it over the top of the onion. Yep, okay, kind of show what you got there. She's got like just a spoonful of the biryani spice. Now go ahead and sprinkle that over your onion, all over. Good job. Keep stirring. Now that's enough of that. We don't need any more of that, so I'm gonna put that away. All right. So she's just gonna keep stirring the onion and letting it cook. And then, Sophia, you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna add that can of peas to that. They're doing so good. Add the can of peas. You know, they need to learn too how to make this for when they get married. Especially, are you okay?
Yeah.
Especially if they're gonna marry into the culture, they're gonna need to know. All right. Good job.
Our
Ava.
dog is in the way.
And you're gonna kind of just let it set for a minute, Ava, so that it can cook. So if you go ahead, you just bumped the camera, honey.
Oh, I'm
just go ahead and dump those in there. That's the golden raisins that are gonna go in. Okay, now put that bowl in the sink and step aside so they can see what Ava's doing. Come this way, sweetie. You can go around and come that way, or that. Okay, so she's just gonna leave that in the pan and let it cook. Stop stirring it for a little bit. I'm gonna add a little bit of salt. You know me, I don't measure. I'm gonna shake it across a little bit. Good, because you can always add more salt. Ava, go ahead and sprinkle a few rounds of pepper, just black pepper. Hold on, you're gonna do the chicken. That's good, Ava. That's plenty. You're gonna cook the chicken. So we'll come back. I'm gonna let that cook. I'll show you what it's like when it's all cooked through and soft, because you don't want to rush the onion. You want to let it cook and get a little bit of brown and caramelized. Okay, so you're doing great, guys. I'm gonna go check the potatoes. We're gonna finish the raisins, onions, and peas, and I'll be right back. Okay, so the onions and the peas are really starting to get nice and soft and golden. Okay, you can see they're kind of getting translucent. I like them a little bit darker. I'm gonna leave them on the stove. Just keep, give them a nice stir so they don't get burned. You want them to be cooked and caramelized, but not burned. And in a second, I'm gonna add that, I'm sorry, somebody text me. In a second, I'm gonna add the chicken and just warm it through. And I wanted to show you, I cooked the potatoes in the fryer. They're all nice and golden brown. They're cooked through. And I'm just gonna add them into the pot with the meatballs and the rice. It smells so good, you guys. Oh my gosh, my husband's at work and I think I'm gonna surprise him and take him some. And he'll be so happy. And I'm so proud of my kids that they have that desire to learn. They always want to be in the kitchen with me, and sometimes I'm not the most patient person, and I need to work on that because I want them to learn. But this is looking good. Okay, now you know what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add that chicken right to that. Just in that way it gets that biryani spice on it too, and it just gives it a little, you don't want it so bland. Just add the chicken in. I hope I'm being clear on what I'm doing. I'm not the greatest at making videos. I try really hard to make videos. I'm still learning. I'm kind of challenged when it comes to anything social media, but I'm really trying for you guys so that you can see exactly what I do. The girls were eating the meatballs before I could put them into the biryani, and they said they're really good. They have a really good flavor. I did taste one. Always taste your food before you add it to something so that you know how it tastes and you can adjust your flavors. This is looking delicious, guys. Just a little bit more. I wish you could smell what this smells like right now. You've all smelled that smell before with the biryani, and when you come in the house, you're like, somebody made biryani. This pot will, you know, we can eat it tonight for dinner. I can take a huge plate to my neighbor, and I can take some to Robbie at work and still have enough for lunch tomorrow. Literally, this pot will be full. And I know a lot of you always have company at your house, people coming in and out. And honestly, as an American girl, one of the biggest adjustments when I got married was, you know, Americans were very like, we love family. Like, I love my family. But we're not used to the constant traffic. We're not used to people being over all the time or just coming over without like calling and stuff. I love our family. Like, I love having visitors and stuff, but it was kind of overwhelming in the beginning when I first got married to him 100 years ago. It was a bit of an adjustment for me. But now, you know, I'm used to it now. Okay. All right, guys, that looks good to me. That looks spectacular. And it smells spectacular. So I'm going to bring the pot over here. Check it out. So this is what we have so far. You can see all the meatballs down in there. And you know, the more I'm looking at the meatballs, I usually will do them on the stove in the pan. And I like how they turn out a little bit better than in the fryer. In the fryer, I feel like they get a little bit too hard on the outside. So maybe do them, like brown them in a pan and then bake them through in the oven, or like try the air fryer and let me know, because I think maybe the air fryer is a better way to go. Okay, Ava, look at it. Do you want to dump this into the biryani, or do you think it's too hot? You think it's fine? Okay, so we're just going to dump it on top, and this is like the last step, and you're done. So it's not hard, you guys. It just takes time. Good girl. Here, let me help while you're doing it. Good job. You want to get all that goodness out of there. It's not too hot, babe? No. Okay, good. Good job. Okay, you know what? You can just set that right back on the stove. Good job. And we're going to kind of just mix it all in there. Just be gentle so that you'll flip it out of the pot. So then once you dump the onions and the raisins and the peas on top, just mix it all together and give it a taste, and make sure you have enough salt and pepper in there to your liking. And you guys, that's seriously it. That's biryani. Now, if you're going to do the eggs, hard-boiled eggs, you can take a shortcut there too, because I know Kroger sells them hard-boiled already, and so does Aldi. But I like to make my own eggs, and it's a really easy trick. If you're going to do like hard-boiled eggs, get a pot of water, fill it up, boil the water, let it boil. Add your egg to the water once it's boiling. Put a timer on for 13 minutes. Let them cook for 13 minutes. When the timer goes off, have a bowl with ice cubes and cold water in it. Put your eggs in the ice bath, leave them for 5 minutes, and I swear to you, every single egg will peel perfectly. You won't get all the you won't take the good part of the egg away. It will peel perfectly every time. Okay. And that's it. Okay, good, Ava. Let me see, baby. Oh my gosh, you guys. I'm gonna have Ava give it a little taste. Hey, Sophie, you want a taste?
Sure.
Okay, my taste tester. Get you a spoon. Let's get you a spoon. You guys, this is it. Oh man, this is a favorite in my house, honestly. Let me just show the ladies really quick before we dig into this goodness. So, hold on, baby.
I'm so excited.
You're so excited? That's it.
That's
Look at, they can't
beautiful.
wait, you guys. They can't wait. Oh my gosh, they can't wait. Come here.
I
Dig
need
in.
everything.
Careful, and it's super hot.
So I need a meatball.
You need a meatball. Oh boy, that might be hard. Oh, that's okay. Go ahead. You want to reach in there? I'll let him reach in there. It's
our
okay.
family.
It's our family. There you go. It's hot. Be careful. Really
Potatoes are
hot.
delicious.
Is it delicious?
Potatoes are.
The potatoes are delicious. Getting kid approval right now, guys. Dave, thumbs up or thumbs down? Sophia, thumbs up or thumbs down? Big thumbs up. You guys, that's it. That's biryani. If you have any questions, always feel free to message me. I'll try to answer anything that I know how to do. I'll be happy to share with you, because I remember when I was trying to learn, sometimes it wasn't always the easiest to find answers that I needed. And sometimes, surprisingly, people weren't really willing to share with me how to do something. So, seriously, look, she's in it again. Anything I can do to help, message me. I hope this video helps you guys. Thank you so much for all the love you've been showing me. I really appreciate it. I'll see you later.